Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is being sure of what you hope for, being convinced of what you do not see. I'm going to jump now to verse 6. It said, now without faith, it is impossible to please him, for the one who approaches God must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who seek him. So in these two verses, we have sort of a positive and a negative definition of faith. Just as in another place, Paul gave us a positive and a negative definition of the gift of the Spirit, just to give you the breadth of it, that the spectrum of gifts is large. No one says Jesus is Lord except by the Spirit of God. And no one speaking by the Spirit of God says Jesus Christ is accursed. So it gives you a positive and a negative definition. In this Hebrews 11:1 and 6, we also have what I call a positive and a negative. 11:6 tells us a negative definition. Now the challenge comes when you want to slice it and say faith only means this, and you want to limit it to a particular thing. That begins to be problematic, because in a way it depends on the context. When Jesus Christ started talking about faith, he's the first person that we see talk about faith. Everybody else, even John the Baptist, talks about repentance, talks about doing something, but he's the one that's established the fact that belief is enough. When people ask him, what should we do so that we can do the work of God? He said, believe in the one he has sent. So he's the one that introduced the concept of faith as work in itself, not so much as leading to work now, but faith in itself is work. And of course, Paul will later expound on this and refer back to what the Bible said about Abraham, that he believed God and it was accounted to him for right action. Just like brought a sharp focus on the concept of faith. You believe what he says and you believe in him, and that is it. That is it. Nothing else. You believe in him. We begin to see the power of it in the miracles that he did. The miracle he did them not because the people did anything, but because they had faith in him. A lot of the miracles he did was because they had faith in him. That in itself is a spiritual quality that Jesus Christ started emphasizing. He started saying even Gentiles will have faith more than the children of Abraham. So it begins to rewire the thinking of the apostles that is going to leave behind on the vital power of faith for all things that has to do with relationship with God, and of course Jesus Christ is God. Let me come back to Hebrews 11:1 now. Said, but now faith is being sure of what we hope for, being convinced of what we do not see. That is so important, because after he rose up from the dead, Thomas said, unless I see him, I'm not going to believe it. And he came and said, blessed are those who do not see, yet they believe. That's what we're talking about here. That is faith. You can see God, but you believe, and you have a certain pattern of life, action that shows that you believe. That is faith. You are living a life of faith. If just shall live by faith. You are living a life of faith already as a believer. That is just who you are. That is how you are. You became a Christian because of the gift of faith that you received. So don't let anyone try to beat you in the head and say there's some things you should do for faith. No, you already in faith. You have the gift of faith. Every one of us have a measure of faith. Now back to Hebrews 1. Now faith is being sure of what we hope for, being convinced of what we don't see. The idea is that let's not make it too mysterious. Let's not make it too exoteric. I do not see God, and I am convinced by the Spirit. I do not see Jesus Christ. I believe the message of the scriptures. That is faith. So that's a positive definition. The negative definition is, now without faith, it is impossible to please Him, for the one who approaches God must believe that He exists. So once you are approaching God, we know that you have faith. You're seeking the one that you cannot see. There's no feeling, but you're seeking Him. That is faith. Let's not make it too mysterious. You are in faith. Both the fact that you believe what you did not see and the fact that you are seeking God, that you do not see, that you believe that Christ has accomplished everything on the cross, and you do not see, and you just believe. You believe in your heart that God raised Him from the dead. You are in faith. And also, drawing near to Him, you are in faith already. God bless you. See you later.